Hi everybody, it's Crazy. It's Wednesday and it's time for the Learned Experience video. Before I get started, gotta give a shout out to my trusties because you guys rock. To my Crazy fam, love you guys. And to my Patreons, thank you for your support. We are up to episode number 33 and I'm working from a book called... Nope, wrong one. Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. I've been working with this book for a little while now. Gotten up to chapter 15 last week and only got halfway through it because I had a lot of things going on. I did a little bit of makeup this week. Got all the way up to halfway into chapter 16. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so this is where I'm up to. I'm up to page 350. So I'm going to sneak on over here off screen and type in 350 and switch back over to here. This is one of the projects. It's actually the last project of chapter 15. It's called multi-threaded XKCD downloader. Okay, so it's basically a website that had cute little cartoons and GIFs and stuff like that people can look at, and we had downloaded it, or in another chapter, and this one right here does threading in order to go through it quicker, and it does help it out quite a bit. I was like, wow, because before it was like, and it would finally get to the end, it'd take a little bit. This one just goes and it's done. So it's pretty interesting, but I do know that multi-threading might not be a good thing for me, being that for the fact that I'm gonna be doing in gaming, and threading in gaming can get kind of tricky, especially when using a BG in Blender. I don't know how it works with other game engines, but from what I was told, my buddy Day said, hey, not such a good idea, and Wick, also stated that threading, using threading, Python threading in games really kind of doesn't help out any, or it's not really good for using it in Blender or a BGE. So this is what I'm up to. I left off here, and I went ahead and did it, and like I said, it downloaded a lot faster than I thought. Because like I said, the first one, I believe it was chapter 14. No, chapter 13. It was chapter 13 or chapter 11. That's what it was. It was chapter 11. In chapter 11, so we'll go back a few episodes. I might pop it up on the screen at the end of the video. But chapter 11 showed, basically you go to that website, you download all the comics, and yada yada yada, and it took forever. It's like it kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And by the time it got to the end, it was like, okay, finally it's done. When I did the threading, it just went through. It was like, whew, it was done. I mean, within a few seconds, it was over. And I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. If you want to get through some processing really fast, threading could help, But like I said, it's not really good for a BGE or Blender or most game engines. They try to do multi-threading, but, sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. So I ended off with that one. I ended at the bottom of page 352. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 352. That was at the bottom. Of course, it talks about using launching other programs from Python. You could, with the Popen function. Ooh, hang on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I was right. Okay. So launching other programs from Python, the Popen function, pretty neat function. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great, but I don't know why that, Oh, okay, because it was the next one. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm having fun today, ain't I? Okay, so then we go into Popen, which is really good. I enjoyed doing this one. This one here has some neat stuff. I actually, opened up my VLC media player, and I was playing my Pink Floyd and all my other songs that I like to enjoy, and I was like, boy, I'll beat Spotify any day. I'll just run my program, and it'll launch anytime I want it to. I thought it was pretty fun. Some of the other factors, you can do all kinds of neat stuff, with Popen, Popen, that is. You can open multiple calculators and stuff like that. You can use sub-processes. I did sub-process, and it was pretty nice. like I said, it shows you how to open the calculator. You get more than one instance of the calculators, but each one is different. Let's see, what was that one on? Just a second, let me minimize that one. I'm gonna bring. There we go. Let me switch back over to this one here. Okay, I start at the bottom of page 352. Is launching other programs from Python, and this right here is, I thought was pretty awesome. So I ran them. I did each one of these, and I had a fun. Fun. It wasn't hard at all. Didn't have any problems with it. There are a few of them that have problems because it's an older book and it's not so much of a newer book. This is the first edition, not the second edition. Um, but this one worked out great, and I was like, wow, okay. And it gets into Unix philosophy, and that was at the top of page 357. So let's go there real quick. Oops, 357. And then we'll switch back over to here. Here we go. It goes into a project called Simple Countdown Project is what I ended on. But just above it, it talks about the Unix philosophy and how it pertains to people. How people should use Python and any other programming language. And I kind of agree with that. Smaller programs do better than one giant, enormous program. And I kind of agree with that because little small programs put together can make up a whopping big program, but you don't want to have too many because it causes lag and everything else. So the only bad thing about it is, you can do something like how smartphones do. Smartphone apps, one app will call another app will get another app, another app will get another app. So basically it's a program running a program running a program running a program. So I mean, it has its plus and minuses, but it is a good philosophy to keep it simple, stupid. No need to go out of your way to build something when you can do it simple. I learned a little bit of that when I was building GTA Z, and it's a little simple game, very simple. And I got into extravagant stuff like having cars move on the screen, having it where you can get into a car and get out of a car, yada yada yada. And then I got to thinking, well, that's not what the object of the game was. The object of the game was to kill zombies. But did I want the cars to move? Yeah, that would have been cool. But it was a little bit more than I wanted to get in depth to, so I just had the cars parked on the side of the road, and you just got to walk around it, and it gives you something else to dodge around the zombie. So, but got up to, started with a project called the Simple Countdown Program. Tells you about what it is right there. Let me go to the next file over here, which would be, there you go. Started on this one, and ran it, and it was pretty neat. It's just a little simple countdown timer. You have to. I did 10 seconds because I was trying to work with you the process. I was having some problems with this one, trying to get it to work right. And when I got it to work right, as you see, it should work pretty easy. It's supposed to open up this audio file, and that's what it will do. If I hit F5 right now, and I hit run, it counts down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When it gets down to 0, it tries to open up a program. And my program opens. See? So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. It was pretty interesting because of the fact that this is just a simple little program. Very simple, very easy. It does all this, and then after that, it runs it. How hard is that, right? Well, to somebody starting out, it's really rough because you don't know what all these do. You don't know what this does. You don't know what this does. You have no idea what start is. You don't even know what you might know what the MP3 is, and what's still true, I mean, so when you're first starting out, you got to learn all this stuff and learn little bits and things that that go through. You know that you imported that, so you're actually calling that. You're calling it as Popen because that's what runs the Popen program or module. Okay, and then you got the rest of the information, and which is all your variables that you're going to use to make the program run. Okay? Excuse me. But, got a little simple time, use time. I gave myself 60 seconds, but as you see, I put 10 seconds on my other one. I just left this the same way, so that way I know what to put it back to when I'm ready. Of course, when it gets down to 0, it's going to print, or if it's less than 0, or if it's going to count down until it gets to 0. I'm sorry. While time left is greater than 0, okay, it's going to print how much time I have left, and it's going to put it on a new line. It's going to go through it, and it's going to give it that 1 second interval. 1, 1, 1, 1. It's going to go down by each individual, and then it's going to subtract 1. So it's going to go 10, 9, 8, 7 as it did. So that's pretty cool, right? I enjoyed making this. It was fun. It got me to understand how the Popen program module actually works, and it's got some really good features that can actually help you open programs while you're not using them. You can schedule a task to run at a certain time every day, kind of like your antivirus scheduler. It scans for viruses, at a certain time of day. Right? Well, it's the same thing. Same little simple type program that does the same thing. Without the ads or all the other crap. And then, of course, I ended at the top of page 361. I'm going to go over here, 361. Which finally brings me to chapter 16. Sending email and text messages. Now, this one I had a bit of a struggle with. The only reason why is because one of the programs that they want you to, that they say you should, put in here is literally going to have a hard time doing it. Email uses SMTP in order to, receive email messages. Much like HTTP is the protocol used by computers to send web pages across the internet. Simple Mail Transfer Protocol is the protocol used for sending email. Okay, IMAP, okay, just deals with sending emails to others. Okay, to other people. A different protocol called Imap deals with receiving emails sent to you and is described in Imap on page 366. So SCMP is just you sending it. This is receiving it. There, I said it right this time. Okay, so they get you into sending email. Here goes. What you would think would be the simple program to run this. You're using SMTP lib. Okay, and what it does is it calls the SMTP protocol. You put in the web page that you want to go to and its port number, and you run through the program. As the program goes through, you can do start TLS, you can log in, you can send an email, and then you quit out of it. Make sure that you quit out of it, because if you don't, it stays open. Okay, and people don't realize that right there is something that can cause problems later on in time, especially if you have a web service that says, okay, you're only allowed to handle so many emails through so many devices. Okay, so you got to be careful with that and make sure you quit out of it. And here's where it tells you, hey, it quit. Okay, which was okay. I got that pretty well. And then, of course, it says connect to an SMTP server, which is your mail protocol server. You got Google, Outlook, Yahoo, AT&T, Comcast, and Verizon. There's other ones. If you have an internet service provider that offers an email and it isn't one of these, go check them out. I'm pretty sure they have an SMTP protocol, okay, that you can use. So of course, they use good old Gmail. That right there is its port, that it uses. And then you just hit type, and it tells you what kind of type it is. This SMTP lib.smtp. It just tells you what kind of class it is. Okay, and then, of course, you can do SSL, which is recommended. But most now, see, this is where it gets old, an older one, because back then you had a choice of having SSL, or you can have it automatically. Now it's just automatic. It's automatic SSL, so yeah, you ain't got to worry about it. So you send yourself a hello message, and this is it, and this is what you would do, and this is what you got. And then you start TLS encryption, which kind of helps out a lot too. So yeah, use it. Then you log into your email. Oops. You log in. Dang it. No, I don't want that. I don't know why it keeps popping that up when I do that, but that's why, because it's trying to go to my email at address.gmail.com. Okay, so you put in your email address, you put in your password, and boom, it says you're accepted. But on Gmail, what they didn't tell you is that you got to actually do something, another step. And it tells you right here that you actually have to use a specific thing for Google in order to do, to be able to use an external program to ask permission to check your email or to send email saying it's you. This is how a lot of the bots and the hackers hack your email and make your email send a whole bunch of stuff, is because people do stuff like this and forget about it and leave it running. You don't want to leave it running. Once you're done with it, turn it off. Okay, now here it says, be careful about putting passwords in your source code. Come on, it's a no-brainer, folks. Don't put your password in there, okay? For the most part, it's very dangerous to put any kind of passwords in there. And I had put mine in for testing when I went to this one here, and of course I'm going through it, and there goes my password, but it's not there now. Now when I hit run, if I ran this program, it will automatically wait for me to input my password. Okay, I could put something in here and put please enter password, but I don't want people to know that. Hey, figure it out on your own. You're pretty smart. So went through sending an email, and I put that at the top because of the fact that I didn't want to fight with it, and gave myself max line, so that way I wouldn't have to fight with it erroring out or causing a problem saying that I've used too much. Let's see, sending an email. And there we go. Okay, so I'm basically up to here now. Let's see, go back to this. See, sending email. I go ahead and I did that. I went ahead and ran through it, and it says, okay, this is stuff that you've got to have. This method requires 3 arguments. This argument, and this argument. You've got to have it, because if not, it will error. And so, of course, it's like, okay, cool. Make sure you quit. Be sure to call the quit method when you are done sending emails. Okay, this will disconnect you from the SMTP server. Then, of course, I went into Imap. I guess call it Imap. IMAP if you're got to be specific. Shows how you retrieve and deleting emails with Imap. I didn't do that. I didn't want to delete any emails off of my email server, whichever one I was on, even my junk ones. I don't do it. I just simply, if I want to delete it, I hand delete it, because I don't want to do it to a program. But my problem was, when I got to this, I imported PyZmail. Okay, unfortunately, PyZmail is not really PyZmail. It's PyZmail 36, I believe, is the one that's been upkept. PyZmail has been dead since 2014. But somebody took proceeded on with it and called it PyZmail 36. It was after Python 3.6. So from that point on, they've been keeping up with it. They've got a link in the book that you can go to, and you can follow and chase it down and be able to get to it. Probably put that link in the description. I might or may not. But I really had an issue with trying to get that to work. I couldn't get it to install. I couldn't get it to set up. Nothing. And so when I finally figured out that it was PyZmail 36, I didn't have a problem from that point. But some of the program changed. some of this changed, like this right here did not change, but this did. Which is completely, you're thinking, oh, well, it's about the same. Isn't that crazy? No, it's actually different because this has got to have a B and this has got to have a B right before it. And over here, let me go to it. Where's that? I'm gonna scroll down just a minute here. Yeah, there we go. Zoom. Okay. Go back over to here. Now, here is the site right there. Okay, is the original one, but it will link you to the Pygame 36. The same people run it. They just let this one die and continued on. But there were some changes. This wouldn't work because right here, as you see, I now have to put a B in there because this will not work. It will not accept the body without that there. Okay, and it's part of the function. There was a couple more that it was kind of a struggle to get through, but I actually got it to work, and I was pretty proud of myself that I can actually do that. And I made it through it, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. I also put these in my thing as well because I like to have information like that, so that way when I'm looking through it, I can actually see it. And then the next one was going through Imap client, and the Imap client is basically the client application that actually makes it run. And you do the same thing that you do with SMTP, but it's Imap Gmail. You turn on SSL. You don't really have to, but they just say put true, so that way it automatically sets it, and you ain't got to worry about it later. Of course, you log in. Okay, of course, there goes my email address. Y'all didn't see that. No, I don't care if you see my this email address I haven't used in years, but I still use it every now and again. It sends all my junk mail. So if you'd like to send me junk mail, send it there. Okay. All right. So, and then I got into searching searching emails, so on and so forth. And I wrote all this down because all this had changed. This comma and this group right here was not here. Okay, actually the comma was there, but just not these two. Okay, the two quote single quote. Okay, because they just had it as part as one. But on the older one, it used to be this all the way across minus these two. But now, since with the 3.6 version of it, it actually has to have this one, and it actually has to have this one there too. But everything else works just fine. I had no problem with anything else with it. I couldn't figure out how to get the certain, all my emails to pop up. So I did seen because I had already went through and cleared out my email over already. And it was like, wow, okay, something was not right. So, needless to say, and yeah, as you see, I didn't do that right. There, it is now fixed. All right, so I used Scene, and it printed up everything. Oh my god, it took forever. Ever. Yeah, don't do Scene, okay? But for the most part, I got through it. I read each one of these. I was like, okay, cool. UIDs I had problems with. This right here threw me for a loop because I put it in and it errored and it errored and it errored. And I come to find out that letter has got to be capitalized. And since he only used J, I thought it was just, him putting J there. And so I was putting lowercase j. This is where typos really mess you up. So check your stuff before you get all frustrated. I sat there and looked at that up at least 40,000 times and didn't even see that it was an uppercase J. So I went ahead and did it and finally was able to go through it. I'm like, oh, okay, now I see what I did wrong. And so went through everything. I tried up here to try to change it a couple times to try to figure out what I was doing wrong and figured out what I did wrong. And then here I ran into that same problem with the body, but this part worked, the other part did not. So I'm like, what the heck is this part right here? This part did not work. It was, it errored out. Because I only had this in there, and I needed to have the B. Okay? And so I went through it. Okay, got, pounded my way through it. finally got to the end of it where it says disconnecting from the Imap server. That's where I ended off. It's 376, 376, and so I ended off here, and it was supposed to start with a sending member dues reminder emails. Okay, so I was like, okay, I could probably do that, and I went ahead and started on it and got to some of the code. I didn't get all of it yet, and I'll switch back over here so you can see. Okay, so I started with tells you what it is, tells you what you got to do, and of course I already know how to do this. I already know how to do this. Learned how to do this, and learned how to do this. Okay, so this is all pretty understandable now. I started understanding it. I know it's going to need PyOpenXL. Okay, I know it's going to need the SMTP to read my email, and of course this. Okay, which is your system. All right, and I started building the program per se the book, which is, let me scroll on down here so I can switch back over. So this right here is actually this right here. Okay, so I got to this point of the book, and it was 9:59, and I said, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. I got work tomorrow, I'm not going to worry about it today, the rest of it today. I did good, and I think I did really good because 377 and the end of page or chapter 16 is 386. So I was 9 pages away from being done with chapter 16. So I was like, okay, hey, 9 pages, I can deal with that, because all that is just this program that I'm working on right here. It's going to finish putting in these last 3 deals, and that'd be the end of chapter 16. And I was like, okay, but let's see. That. There we go. Oops. Here we go. I don't know why I deleted it, but then I go on to chapter 17, and and then so on and so forth. Now, I put over here the chapter or the chapters and where they end at, so that way I can keep a little bit of focus for myself, because chapter 18 ends the book. That's all it is. After that, it's appendages and glossary and all that other stuff, in which we don't care about right now. But I want to get to chapter 18 so I can finish this book, because after that, guess where I'm going? BGE all the way. Woo-hoo-hoo. But so I've got to get to the end of it first. And I promised myself I was going to finish this book, because of the fact that you can give yourself a goal and then don't do it, and there's only one person to blame. It's you. It's if you don't set yourself a good meager goal, like I tried to do 30, I had a funny feeling I wasn't going to be able to make it. I didn't. I'm actually in 3 into 30, so I said, okay, I'm going to bump it up to 35. At most 40, I should be done with this book, and I'm hoping so. I mean, if I continue to do one more, one chapter each time, then I should be done with it by chapter 36 or episode 36. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that I get done with this by episode 36, so I can go on to BGE, which is going to be a little bit of a difference in the learning process. I'm going to actually stop the learned experience, and it's going to go to BGE learning. So that's going to be a whole nother group that you can follow through, so that way you don't have to keep looking at this one. I'm going to start that one on a completely new one. So wish me luck. But so far, that's where I ended off, and we'll go from that next week, and we'll see what we can do about that. But so far, that's all I've got for this week. I might be a little bit off on my oops video due to the fact that I didn't really get much time this week to work on it, because like I said, I was doing some cram studies with this, and I really didn't get a chance to play with it. So I'm going to try to see if I can come up with something for Friday's oops video, just to keep it real. So stay tuned. See y'all next week.